Okay, hello everyone. So I have my very good friend Lizzie Marden with us tonight. So Lizzie is an animal behaviourist, which is great because it means that we can look at lots of different animals. We don't always, because it's quite nice to. I'm doing lots of research on other animals at the moment, and I'm loving it. Um, and so we're going to be looking at cats basically, but how cats' behavior can be a lot more subtle than dogs. So actually learning how to read cats can really help us to read our dogs as well. So I'm going to hand it over to you, Liz. I've done like a little slideshow. I better get that up actually that I'll share of cat images.
Stuff.
Um, Cat stuff, and we're going to try and share some videos, but I don't actually know how I'm going to share those videos because I haven't saved them to my. But we'll look at that in a minute. So I'm going to
We'll
hand
roll with
over to
it.
you for a minute. You can introduce yourself properly and the topic, and then we'll go from there.
Amazing. Well, thank you for having me. I put on a Christmas jumper, not that you can fully see it, but it's got a Highland cow on it. So I've tried to make a Christmas effort.
Love it.
um, so yeah, we are going to talk about the similarities and differences between cats and dogs. We have only got half an hour, so this is going to be more of like a snapshot rather than because you could talk about this topic for absolute weeks. It's huge. So we're just going to go through some like really obvious ones. Um, As you said, I'm Lizzie, so I'm with Nature's Therapies Animal Behaviour. I do see dog clients, but I also see cats and sometimes farm animals and horses and all sorts with what I do. And I'm also a Reiki therapist, so again, see lots of different animals with the Reiki side. But dogs and cats are definitely the most common of the animals that I work with, and they are surprisingly similar. So the reason we thought we would do this as a topic when Rebecca and I were chatting about this is if you can learn how to recognize cat behavior, it will actually make you a better dog behavior spotter, for want of a better phrase, because cats are really subtle. And if you can see it in them, it will become glaringly obvious when you're looking at dogs. So it's a nice kind of one to link the two.
Yeah, I love it. Shall I share the little
Amazing.
slides for you?
Yeah, so what we thought we would do with our slides, just to kind of make it a bit easier rather than you watching me ramble on, and I've got cat hair in my mouth, by the way, so I'm not just like picking at things, I'm covered in it today. Um, we thought we would show you some pictures and then we'll give you a little minute to look, and then I can perhaps chat through what's going on so you can see because it is subtle.
Okay, so I'll share my pictures first. I was wondering if we could share the videos from actual WhatsApp. I might just try that quickly.
If
Um,
you've got it open, you should be able to just share the screen that you can see.
yeah,
So
that's
I'm picking cat hair up my tongue. So I've got three cats. While you're doing that, I've got three cats. So Tony is a rescue when I used to be the behaviourist for the RSPCA. Brought her home with me, obviously, because this is what happens if you do any work with rescue, you end up adopting all of them. And then Sasha and Pixel are, so Tony's 13 now, Sasha and Pixel are two, and they're sisters, and they come from Fern Animal Sanctuary over at Chard. When I was doing some work with them, I got bullied into taking them home as well. So I've got three cats here.
that does not
Yes, we can see those. Will it let you play?
okay. Ah,
It will. There you go. Can everyone see that?
Sean's nodding.
Cool. So it's a really, these are really short clips, but this is Sasha. So what I want to show you here is she's actually a little bit worried. So it's not, the video isn't going slow. She is moving that slow. So she's got little aeroplane ears. So rather than her ears being up, they go slightly to the side. She does little worried looks around and then she really creeps forward towards me because basically you can't hear it in this video because I turned the sound off because there was all sorts going on. But she's a bit worried by the noise behind her. So she gets up, you get a little bit of aeroplane ear, you get a look, you get a tiny little lip lick. So she sticks her tongue out and then she creeps towards me like, Mom. But that would be very easy to miss because, especially on her, so black cats can be quite difficult to read sometimes just because it's a sheer colour. You can miss some of the muscle tension moments in there. Whereas Pixel, the black and white one, who I've done the rest of the videos with, she's a bit easier to see, just where she is. a pattern. So I did a bounce here on this video so you could see the lip lick because it is quick. And obviously cats being small, everything is smaller. She is tiny. This is her doing a little lip lick. So when they stick their tongues out and they lick their lips or their nose, it's exactly the same as why dogs do it. So it can be an appeasement signal or a, I just want to be here with you, but I don't want any trouble. So in this moment, she had just jumped up onto the bath tray. So I'm in the bath on this video, and she jumped up, and it's a little greeting of, "Hi, mum, can I be here? Is this okay?" So it's just a nice little bounce to show you the lip lick. What else have we got? I can't remember what I sent you, Rebecca.
It's a surprise, see?
Okay, so there you've got a little tiny bit of aeroplane ears. They are the same as horses in terms of their ears will rotate when they hear things. So she's hearing something behind her, which is why you're getting those ear movements, a little bit of blinking.
It's interesting because Podencos do as well. And I always say
Yeah,
that
because they've got
Podencos,
the,
yeah, I always say that Podencos are a bit cat-like.
I think they are. So this is a nice one because so Pixel doesn't give a whole lot of warning before she's a little bit snappy, but I like it in her. So she's a bit more fiery. So if we watch this video again, you'll see she does a few like soft eye blinks. So little kissy eyes is what I call them. So that's her sort of saying, "Hi, mum, like nice to see you." But it's not necessarily an invitation to come over, which a lot of people mistake. There, little kissy eyes. So I take the camera over to her and she's like, "What are you doing?" That's fine because she leans into it. She goes, "Yep, you can touch me here." But when I go down here, do you see she suddenly head turns and goes, "Actually, I don't want you to touch me there." And then she follows my hand. And then when I go back and pester, I get a quick turn. So she's not trying to bite or swipe, but she's giving a lot of behavior cues here of, "I do not want you touching that bit of me. Like the shoulder was fine. That's not okay." I push it a little bit because obviously I can push it a bit with them. If it was a client, I wouldn't be pushing it at all, but these are my cats, so I sort of know. And for her, she likes to wrestle. So you can sometimes poke a little bit and then she'll turn and do like a claw grab and it'll be a nice interaction. But I wouldn't push that with, a cat, no. But for her, it's those subtle moments where you get the lean in. So she's like, "Yep, this is fine." She turns her head away, but she's still leaning in. When I then move down, she starts really hyperfixating on my hand. So she follows my hand and she's almost saying, "No, enough, enough, enough." And then when I let go and put the hand back, that's when you get the quick head turn. And that is a warning way before you would get like a snap or a swipe or a growl. So again, it's just very, very subtle. So this is fine. That's okay. That's not okay. That instant there. And then, nope, stop. I keep going. Nope. So she's quite expressive. It's easy to see on her. She's a lovely cat to work with because she is so expressive. I mean, she is spicy. Um, but
It
I
makes
like that.
me
Like I said,
think
I
of
like
the
her.
harness fittings. When we're fitting harnesses in the shop, quite often the dogs will just start looking at your hands, and you're like, and the guardians quite often don't pick up on it. And when you sort of take your hands off, it's like, well, no, they are actually telling us they're really not comfortable with that. So it really reminded me of that as I was watching it. It was like that real,
Yeah.
um,
And I think it's we miss that as a pattern as such because we often think if they're watching your hand, we're often like, "Oh, they must like it." But if they're really fixate, so when I touch her, she actually moves and leans for me to touch her shoulder, whereas the rest of the time she's like, "I'm going to watch this hand because eye hand coordination. If I watch your hand, I can then swipe you." So she's priming herself to basically be like, "I'm not okay with this." Um, so it is about noticing those moments for sure.
and we always want to keep an eye on the things that are annoying us or upsetting us or scaring us, even, don't we? It's a bit like movies, isn't it? You know, it's like you watch a horror movie and you don't want to watch, but you've got to keep your eyes open because you need to know what's happening and you need to see if something's going to jump out on you. Uh,
Big
Same as
time.
walking down a dark alleyway, isn't it? That constant, you
Yeah, and
don't
you
want to
become like
see
hyper
it, but
vigilant.
you
Yeah.
do want to see it.
So got some nice kissy eyes. Again, she's a bit like, "Why is the phone in my face?" But there, leans into it. That's nice. Like my chin. That side, please. This is lovely. I've had enough now. Stop. I said enough. Don't touch me. Yeah. So she is very much like she gives beautiful appeasement if you are watching for it. So in this instance, the little kissy eyes at the very beginning of the video are like morning. So I've literally just got up and gone to a morning, and she's like, morning, kissy eyes. The kissy eyes you see at the end is an appeasement of please stop. I've had enough. So the same behavior in a different context there. And you've got a little lip lick there as well. So where I'm
Changed
scratching her and she
within
suddenly
like
turns.
it changed within a split second, didn't it?
Yeah, so she's quick. So the reason I filmed her more than Sasha or Tony is because you can kind of do anything with those girls. They will let you poke and prod them and pull them around, and they're like me. She doesn't. She's a completely different character, even though she's the sister to Sasha. So she is really good to learn from because she goes from fine to not fine with like a breath. So you can be like, this is lovely. Oh, this isn't lovely anymore. There's claws there. So she's a really good teacher. Um, and her lip licks are really small, which is why I did that one in the bath where it was a bounce one to see. So like that's lovely. There, quick turn, no, done, and a lip lick. So she turns, and then the only reason you can see the lip lick is her whisker moves ever so slightly where her jaw moves, but it's really small, really small.
But it's
And then
cute.
again,
It's,
she's quick
it's
on
really
the hand.
polite as well, isn't it? Like the way she looks at your hand and then she looks at you like in the squinty eyes, like, no, no, I've told you to stop. Can you please stop? Please, please stop.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly that. But if you were to ignore that and push it further, she has no qualms in turning and doing a nip. So she is quite gentle. She has got a lot of bite control, like bite inhibition there. So she'll like pinch. She tends to pinch and pull your skin, which I think hurts more than if she actually bit you. But like she'll like pinch and pull, or they'll be like, she's not really a swiper, she's more of like a she'll grab and then she'll go into wrestle mode. But she will do quick little nips. Whereas Sasha has never tried to nip, and I don't think Tony's ever tried to nip ever. But she is very much like, I have a line, and if you cross that, there are no survivors.
Well, the thing
You will be
is,
taken down.
so many people wouldn't notice that as well, would they? They wouldn't. And
No.
the same with dogs. This is, this is the issue with dogs as well, is that their body language is so subtle sometimes that we just don't notice unless we know what we're looking for. Um, shall I share now let's see if I can.
Does anyone have any questions about those clips just while you grab the next bit up?
No, they're all quiet.
That's good.
God, you can see. I don't know if you can see all my open. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So can you see that okay?
Yeah, I can see that. Okay. In the just so that everyone's got it in the chat box, you're welcome to write any questions at any point, and I'll keep half an eye on that chat box bit, and then I can like if anyone's like, oh, I missed that, or feel free to use it.
Oh, Kaz is coming in.
So these are pictures, aren't they, rather than videos?
Yes, these are
Yeah,
pictures, which I know are always harder because but at the same time, I think when you're first learning about an animal, it's quite nice as well to kind of see things, isn't it, when they're still, if that makes
yeah,
sense.
definitely. So I've not seen these pictures, so they're new to me as well because we wanted it to be almost like a little bit of a test. So what I will say as a caveat before I answer is context is important. We don't know what's going on in these pictures, and we can only see in a picture partial parts of an animal. When we're looking at any animal, we want to look at the whole body because, like I said before, kissy eyes in one sense can be like a greeting, but in another sense, when her body was tight and tucked, it was actually a back off signal. So we're not going to know with a picture, but it is handy to see. So with this looks like a mid vocalization point, but everything else looks relatively okay in terms of we've not got a furrowed brow, so we've not got any frowning, and they do frown. They have got little eyebrow whiskers, which kind of, if you go up from the nose and then out just above like the corner of the eye, there's the little eyebrow whiskers. The ears are nice and forward. And the face is only tense where they're opening, but the rest of it looks okay. So I would say this cat is sort of either shouting for a treat, which Sasha does do, or doing like the little chirping that you get with birds when they do that those noises.
You talking about whiskers as well. I found out something about cats the other day that I didn't know, that they have whiskers on their paws.
I didn't know that. I'll have to look into that. I've never really like looked at that.
Yeah, I was like, that's so cool. So yeah, and that's why they're so good at like sensing things on the floor and that because they've got like little. It's only their front pads, I think, and yeah, they've got like
Like
little
little sensories.
little whiskers, little
Hmm.
they're brassy, isn't it? The scientific for
Yeah,
whiskers, yeah. But yeah, I was like, they're so cool.
they are cool.
They are
They're
very cool.
crazy adapted cats. So with whiskers, they're meant to be, in terms of like the whisker length, they're meant to allow the cat to know what their widest part is. So a whisker on a healthy cat, I'm not talking about a fat cat, I'm talking about a healthy
Yeah,
cat.
I well
The
that was something
whiskers
I
should
learned as well,
hit the
funny enough.
widest point.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
learned I
If
think
you've got an obese cat, they can't judge it.
yeah, and they'll get stuck because they can't judge their
They
body
will
weight.
get stuck.
Yeah, that's mad, isn't it?
Or if
Another
you've got
reason not
cats
to go.
that with not I haven't really seen it so much in the UK, but if you've got cats that are taken to like the cat shows and things and they want to look pretty and they trim the whiskers, it can cause massive sensory issues for them because their whiskers are highly sensitized anyway. They do fall out, so you will find whiskers on the floor sometimes. They do fall out and grow new ones, but they're highly sensitized. And if you cut them, it is almost like a pain response, and then like almost like if you a shallow cut hurts way more than a deep cut sometimes because you expose all of the nerves. It's a bit like that. It can cause massive
Paper
issues where they've
cut.
been trimmed to look pretty. Yeah.
Yeah. I know that I've spoken to groomers about dogs before because, you know, it's really difficult with dogs because we've bred dogs to have certain fur around their face where they have to have their faces cut. And I can remember talking to groomers and they're like, we have to. We cut. There is no, but we think that dogs haven't got their whiskers are really sensitive as well, and they do use them to feel vibrations and to feel sensory stuff and to know when things are
Yeah.
coming and we're cutting that off, and it's quite often because we've bred these breeds that need all of this sort of trimming
Trimming.
and then we wonder why they've got issues like
I
emotional issues
know.
with it. It's so sad.
Ah, that's a pretty one.
It is a pretty one, isn't it?
So this one's alert, looking at something again moving. So this isn't a relaxed state. Even though the body's relaxed, you're kind of looking from the shoulders up, I would say, is what I would be mindful of. So if I was watching a cat do this, I would be wanting to follow the line of sight and see what's going on. When we're thinking about cats, if we think back to what I said about like the horses and what you said about your guys with it. If the ears are forward, then chances are the thing is forward. If the ears are to the side, then they're kind of looking around. They can like dial around to pinpoint where a sound is. So if we're looking forward and we're at a tilt, where I would say that's kind of maybe watching like a bird or a toy or something, it's almost pre-engaged hunt mode.
Yeah, and very. I can you imagine this the same with dogs is looking at sort of tension around certain areas as well, isn't it? It seems to me though that it is harder with cats. Do you know if they've got as many muscles in their face as dogs? I think.
I have to admit, I don't. What I would say is, I would say they have different specialized muscles just from working with them and watching them. Um, Cats, again, they're smaller, and I think the thickness of fur on them can sometimes make it harder to see muscle tensions. You'll still get it a bit like if you're doing T-touch or looking at anything like that, you'll see like coat change patterns happen. Um, but with these guys, they're like apex predators, really. I would say they've done better along the evolutionary line than dogs, just because they've managed to stay so independent as well as literally getting anything they want out of us, because they've really gone to town with the cuteness side of things, but equally are incredible hunters still. So they're very independent. But the I think in terms of like nose to jaw, I would say it's different on how they use it.
I've
It can be
just
quite difficult to
I
see the
just
muscle. You
googled
know, in
it.
dogs you can see really clamped.
Yeah, I just googled it because I was like, we need to know this. So no, they don't have as many facial muscles as dogs, and that's probably why they are harder to read for us in many
Yeah,
senses because it's almost like dogs have adapted to communicate better with us, haven't they? Whereas,
they
as you
might do.
say, cats are still a lot more independent, aren't they? They haven't,
Yeah,
they don't feel the need to appease us as much, do they, as dogs do?
no, absolutely. So that would be. again, context specific. This is basically like a jowl lick. So the tongue would have come out and they would have licked either like to the sides of the cheek or they would have come up into a nose lick side of things. But this, I would say, with how wide the mouth is, that's actually quite a content cat. We're looking at pupil dilation as well in some of these. In the bright light, they will be narrow anyway, but the fact that this cat's pupils are so dilated and the ears are not up, they're slightly loose, I would say this is a very content cat that's maybe just been grooming or just eaten something really nice.
Nice. Yes. Just had a mouse snack.
Just had a mouse snack. This is funny, mine do this. So this is what I mean by aeroplane is. It's that kind of sideways, not terrified flat down, but that kind of like almost like little sideways look. Um, these two are playing. So this often is the start of a bit of a rough and tumble game. So you have still got nice behaviours happening. So we have got a bit of an eye squint. That could be somewhat due to the face being pulled down by the paw. But the ears to the side let them know that this is kind of like a bit of a cheeky moment. The cat that's the bigger cat, the tabby one, can you see how they're not doing a direct eye stare? They're looking above and over. So they're
Yeah.
looking over the top. So it's keeping a few of those appeasements in there. The whiskers are relaxed. Um, and even though you've got a bit of muscle tension to lift the foot, the actual body is nice and soft. Everything's soft in this picture. You've got a bit of a backward moment with the cat that's being pushed on. Their neck is going back a tiny bit. But those little aeroplane ears and what let me know that this is going to be potentially like I don't want to play and they might just move off and go, or there's going to be a bit of rough and tumble in a fun way.
I love it. Yeah, I suppose it's really interesting sort of looking at whiskers because the whiskers are so much more pronounced on cats, aren't they? So
Yeah.
it's that they are a really good way of us kind of reading them. Whereas dogs, we don't see their whiskers as much, do we? And I don't think their whiskers are as like I can imagine their muscles. Thinking about it, their muscles in cats seem to be a lot around that area of their face as well, don't they? So I can imagine they're very expressive.
Yeah, and it's how they do the chittering with birds. It's kind of that like quick muscle release here. Whereas dogs, you might get dogs that do the snap type thing, or like you only teach a whisper and they're like cats can do that, but they're more like it's more like a rapid vibration
Yeah.
there. So I would say they're kind of like cheek muscles here are much more kind of it enables the whiskers to move more, whereas dogs,
Yeah.
you could quite easily not notice a whisker on a dog at all with some breeds.
Totally. And I think we look more to their eyes, don't we? Whereas cats obviously haven't got as many muscles around their eyes. So their whiskers are a really good
Yeah, they've definitely not
extension.
got, in terms of thinking about placement, dogs' eyebrows are definitely more dexterous.
Yeah.
Dogs can do the whole like almost one eyebrow thing.
Yeah.
Cats can't do that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And I love the direction of the look. Like you can tell that in dog things as well, can't you? Is whether because a lot of people say to me, well, I don't know if my dogs are being aggressive with each other or playing. And sometimes it can be difficult. And, it is sometimes noise intensity but they're visual, how relaxed are their eyes and where are their eyes looking? Usually if it is more of an aggression thing, it's a lot more direct, isn't it? Than kind of look.
Yeah.
I know it's a bit fuzzy, but I thought it showed the body a little bit more.
Yeah, it still shows it. So can you see here? This is kind of on this cat is quite nice because of the natural fur markings. But if they had eyebrows, can you see how they could almost be frowning in that, or a little bit like not necessarily frowning, but a bit like whoa, there's a bit more of an eyebrow action going in that moment. And we have got a little bit of aeroplane ears, but they're not in that fun up bit. They're more back. And then we've got our classic cat arch. We're stiff. The front leg is moving, ready to dart away from you, not to you. So that front leg is almost ready to go that way rather than coming this way. And then we've got a lot of loading through the back hips, ready to spring away.
Yeah, and cats
And
can spring a
that's
lot better,
our
can't they?
direction. Yeah, my God. So I do work with some companies that do the cat proofing of the garden. So they'll put different bits up, and they had to do a lot of research into it because cats can jump a stupid amount and really grapple up strange places.
Yeah, I mean they're incredible. I mean they're so agile, aren't they? And unlike dogs, we're there sort of trying to stop dogs from doing certain positions. We now know that throwing balls repetitively can cause a lot of issues and that. Whereas cats, they need that, don't they? They need high spaces to
Yeah,
climb up and run around, and it's really good for them. So
that's nice. That's a nice little kiss.
yeah, it's so cute, and that I thought that was a
Nice
very
little
cute
kissy kiss.
picture.
So there's a tiny bit of appeasement going on with the one that's got the ears backwards. So a little bit of like, is this okay? So I would say that the one that's standing, for want of a better word, because I can't really say it, but the one that's standing would have approached the one that's sitting. So the one that's sitting's gone, oh, is this okay? And the one that's standing would have stopped and then leant forward. So you've got a bit of an extension on the neck. Rather than the bodies being really close, they've stopped and then leant in. And that one's gone, oh, is this okay? And then it would be like sniff, sniff, sniff. Okay, that's fine. And then off. So we get a little moment of like,
I love that with the weight shift, and this is what I quite often say when we're giving dogs food, and I people will be offering the dog food, and they're like, "Oh, they're taking food off me," and I'm like, "Yeah, but look at where their back end."
yeah, everything's going backwards and they're leaning like as close as they can to get the
Yeah,
treat.
it's like yeah, their head's coming in for the treat, but their whole body's going, "I don't want to be here." So yeah, I mean that positioning and weight bearing can tell us so much about how they're feeling, can't it?
It can, and it's that position of the one that's sat down as such. They're not face on. That one's facing this way a little bit, so it can dart that way, and that one's actually facing that way. So even though the head's coming, if you look at the shoulder direction, they can both go different directions. If it all went south, they can go different directions quite easily to minimize any harm. So this cat has come in, stopped, and done like a little lean. This cat's done a little lean back, but they're sniffing, but they're kind of like that to be able to do that really
Yeah.
easily.
Yeah, and you see it in dogs as well, don't you, when they meet, coming in for that
Yeah.
nose sniff and sort of deciding very quickly whether actually we're just going to walk on by or we're going to play. And um
And the one
yeah,
that's standing is doing the aeroplane ears to the side as well to reassure the other one that it's fine. If they were like ears forward sniffing, that'd be really intense. Whereas they've kind of done that a bit more to sort of go, I want to say hi. So it's not like I'm saying hi. It's can I do a sideways kind of hi? So it's trying to be as polite as possible. You can get this with cats that are strangers, and you can get this with cats that are sisters. So my two will do this. If one's been out for like an hour or more hunting, and they come in the cat flap, they'll often do this greet. So you can get it with cats that have known each other. It's just a polite, like, are we saying hi? Or are we not
our,
saying hi?
our dog, well, mum's dog and cat, they do it quite often, and I love seeing them interact. There's just something so magical about seeing a dog and a cat interact. And Flo comes in, and if she's been out and Mouse is in, Flo will come in and do that. They'll do like a little nose touch and a nose smell, and yeah, and Mouse actually, if Flo's poorly, she's been known to bring mice to Flo.
Little sacrificing.
Yeah, she'll put mice in Flo's bed when she's poorly, which is just adorable.
Cute.
Yeah, really, really cute.
So that shows a really good classic hunt mode engage. So the pupils are blown up. They can go further than that. You can get basically full dilation where you've got no colour. Again, light levels will impact it. If you're in a dark room, they'll be more dilated than if you're in a light room. But I'll try and film it and send it. And perhaps Rebecca, you can then send it on to people if I manage to get it. But you can do some really good footage where you can kind of start filming and the eyes are normal, and then you start wiggling like even a pen or something, and it's like vroom, engaged. Like they're so quick with how they can do it. And it just means that it allows as much light as possible in so that they can then see. And the other thing with cats is where we can see, so I can see my hands to about here-ish. Like if I look forward, I can still see my hands here. Cats can see way background, so they've not got like complete vision, but they can see much wider. A bit like a widescreen TV is what they can see. So when they zoom the light in, they almost can then filter out tiny, tiny things to really focus in on what the prey is doing, what movements is doing, what direction it might go. Their hearing is incredible, so they can hear like heartbeats, they can feel vibrations in the whiskers and the feet, everything. So the eyes are just kind of an indication of like, it's like switching on that hunt instinct.
That's amazing, isn't it? They are quite incredible.
So these cats are quite difficult, these guys, because if you go up a tiny bit, the ears on these ones can sometimes be like that. You can get quite tucked ears in certain breeds. So kind of, I think it's more like your Persian type breeds. They can, rather than having like the traditional cat ear here, they can almost have like little button ears. So when you're looking at these guys, it's the same as if you're looking at a spaniel where you've got floppy ears. You want to look at where the ear connects to the head rather than like the bit that flops down. So you're looking at whether that's tight or back here. On that one, there is almost like a bit of an eyebrow up and ear back. So this cat's a bit like, whoa, why is the camera in my face? We might have a hiss coming in there,
Yeah.
looking at how the tongue's coiling to go through. I'd say that's probably a little bit of like a back off semi warning. Eyes are dilated enough that I would say that that's not hunt. That's more I need to know where all my exits are, or if I'm engaging.
Yeah, and I mean we
That's not
even
like
do
a
that,
hunt.
don't we? We, if we have any response to kind of fear or anything like that, our people, I think it's probably majority of mammals, isn't it, that do that. It's just cats, it's so much more obvious, isn't it?
Yeah, hugely obvious.
Yeah.
This
Oh,
pixel tongue again.
yeah, cats. Oh no, this one I was just like,
Poor fat cat.
I know, just horrendous. Like, and I know that the health problems and things can cause it, can't they? But yeah, it's just not right seeing a fat cat, is it?
No, some of it is you do get some cats that are just obsessed with food. Some of it is because they can get very addicted to dry food, depending on what the dry food is. Obviously, I've spoken to you about this before, Rebecca, with your nutritional brain. Um, they can get addicted to the sugars that can be in dried food. Doesn't mean that all dry food's bad. I feed my guys on a brand called Carney Love, and it's a really good brand, mostly because Sasha refuses to eat any meat of any kind. Pixel would eat anything. Um, but they can get addicted. So if the food is down all the time, which is often what people are recommended to do, I wouldn't, but we can go into that in a minute. But if there is food all the time, sometimes they will just eat. And especially if they're a little bit, if they're bored or if the emotional state is almost what you would probably put it akin to in people as perhaps depression, that kind of
Yeah,
line.
there's
So
also there's also the fact that they're facultative. No, they're not. Dogs are facultative carnivores. That they're obligate carnivores. That if they're
yeah,
not getting enough meat in their diet, they can quite often be searching for the meat content. And a lot of the dried foods, sadly, the vitamins and minerals and that are not actually bioavailable to them. It's a bit like with the dogs, but it is really difficult. I think we're the same with Mum's cat, funny enough. We've actually managed to change him onto it's another dried food. It's not wet food. But as we always say, because they're free roaming, he's a free roaming cat, he goes outside. He does eat mice. So I don't worry as much as what I do with my dogs because my dogs are not getting those fresh foods, but he does get fresh food because he's out, but he is starting to eat a better food, which makes me happy because I don't like
good.
it. Oh, right, we're running out of time. I don't know how much I'm going to go because I think we've done ones that are similar to that
Yeah,
one, but I thought this one was
that's angry, very angry.
quite an
That's
expressive one, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's what I would say, again, context specific, but with the aeroplane, it is sometimes. So when you've got a cat that's going to play, quite often you'll get like, they might do the arch, you might get hissing, that's a normal behavior, it's not a bad thing necessarily, but they'll do the arch, they'll hiss, but you'll get like the aeroplane it is, and it's kind of like a bit of a cheeky look. When they're more like this, if you could imagine this cat eye rolling hard, like a proper like kind of that's literally what this is like absolute contempt like why are you here why like Pixel does this to me if I disturb her she's like excuse you and I'm like teenage girl so yeah miffed that is a miffed
Yeah.
cat
I think many of us would, I think we'd have to be pretty bad with animals to not pick up on that one, to be honest. That was so
definitely
interesting. I'm sorry that Kaz, you're going to have to go back and look at the videos at the beginning. It is really interesting. It definitely, I think I mean, I'm studying lots of different animals at the moment, and it's really interesting because the more I understand about other animals, the more I understand about my dogs.
yeah
And it's yeah, I think just the more we understand about different species, and it's amazing how much we can pick up on about each other and our dogs and whatever other animals we've got as well.
Yeah, massively.
And how different predator to prey animals are as well. I mean, we've spoken
Yeah.
about it before. When I watch Widget's behavior, it took me a long time to kind of start really understanding her, because the only small animals I've had really, I had ferrets, and ferrets are predators as well. So
Yeah, they're quite
similar.
confident in what they're doing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're not that dissimilar to cats, really, in lots of
No,
ways,
they're
and
not.
dogs and stuff. So yeah, and then I've got a little rat, and yeah, she's very different. So has anyone got any questions for Liz before we sign off?
Sign off. The one thing I would say is, because you mentioned it, I cannot pronounce the word that well, but where you said about them cats being more like, you were talking about the facultative feeders. Cats are facultatively social, which means they can give or leave it. So dogs are social. You will obviously get some dogs that don't want to be, but dogs are a social species. Cats are not a social species as a roots like standing thing. They're facultatively social.
Hey, that's
So
interesting. I
they
am
can take it or leave
currently
it.
studying that at the moment, funny enough, because I was like, in
Yeah.
Spain, you see these big colonies of cats, and they all live together, and they live together very happily. And then other people sort of say, well, cats are not, and that makes perfect sense that it did. I mean, I can imagine it very much
Yeah.
depends on their environment and their socialization period and their upbringing and so many different factors, but they're not as, and yet they can still suffer with separation anxiety and things, can't they? The same as
Yeah, yeah,
most dogs
they've got
can
all the
have.
ability to connect and have social constructs and be very social with other cats or dogs, or because I do a lot of dog cat relationship breakdown
Yeah,
work, because obviously doing both. Some cats will just like Tony would have been quite happy to just be the only cat. She's got a lot of trauma and things in the past and she likes people. Sasha and Pixel are really highly social and they cause all kinds of drama because they try and be friends with cats that don't want to be friends with them. Do you know what I mean? It's like, so you can, like, it really is an individual thing. So if you get a cat, don't panic that they're lonely because they're on their own, because actually they might be very happy on their own. But equally,
yeah,
you can get cats that have been socialized with cats and then have a multi-cat household. So it's just not getting stuck with the fact that dogs are social, so cats are social. It doesn't mean they're social or solitary. They're that weird bit in the middle, facultatively social.
yeah,
So
that
in
makes
that
so
middle
much
bit.
sense. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
A
That
bit
will
like
help
me then.
us. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I always say that with us. I mean,
Yeah.
definitely. And I think everyone has this idea of dogs as well as being like, the pack animals and living in big groups and that. And they don't, I mean, that's not, I mean, when you watch street dogs and free roaming dogs, even they can spend long periods of time on their own and be quite happy on their own, and then, they're not like wolves where they are in that family unit all the time. They can be. You can find dogs in family units, but it's a lot more fluid, isn't it? And then obviously with cats, it's even more fluid. So yeah, it's so interesting. And I can imagine breed comes into it as well, right? I mean, there's probably a bit like with dogs. There's, God bloody hell, another rabbit hole I'll be going down.
Honestly, this topic is huge. We could talk about this. This is what I said to you, and we were like, "What should we talk
Yeah,
about?" For me coming on, and I was like, "We could talk about this, but we've got to be so careful because we could talk for
I
days
know. I'm
about this
already bloody
topic."
10 minutes over, and I could, yes. But I love it, and I think it does help us understand other animals in general, doesn't it? And yeah, the more we learn, the better. Right, I will leave it there then, because otherwise we'll be here all night. Thank you so much. That was so interesting. I loved it.
You are welcome. I
And
do often, just before I go, I do often talk about cats on my podcast, and I will be at some point doing some kind of masterclass on cat behaviour. So this is something we can definitely dive into more in the future.
yes, sounds good. Yeah, and you've got to come on and do a Reiki session with us
Yes,
again soon.
we do.
We didn't. I record them now, don't I? But I didn't record them before, so we definitely need to
We
do
can
that
do that.
in the new year. Awesome. All right, my
Thank you for
darling.
having me.
Thank you for coming. Talk
Welcome.
soon. I'll see you tomorrow night, guys.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye.
bye, bye.